Okay, thank you, conference. Delighted to see you all here. It's an absolute pleasure to be with you. It's a pleasure to be back in this room again 1 year on. We may not be loyal to the Crown, but we are loyal to the Crown Plaza. So we're delighted to be here with him, Ching. I don't know if that joke will get me in trouble, but maybe not. People laughed. So anyway, now look, I know people sometimes accuse opposition politicians of saying anything to gain popularity and curry favour, but I do want to say this, very honestly, this is the best looking and most intelligent conference audience I've ever seen. It is. It's certainly more intelligent than the other local party conferences, and unlike others, our intelligence is all natural. And I also want to say, in case the Education Minister is listening, this speech is all my own work. No robots were harmed in the writing of these remarks. But conference, though that is a joke, there's a serious side to it too. We are living in an age when ordinary people don't just feel overwhelmed by events, they feel powerless to make positive change themselves. They're served up an endless diet of anger and outright misinformation on social media, with machines trained to keep their attention and keep them angry. And locally, parties who have sought and been given the immense privilege of serving in government seem unable or unwilling to use their power to meaningfully improve the lives of our people. They don't seem to want to use their power constructively. Now, when the SDLP entered opposition, we said clearly we would be a constructive opposition. And I think we've lived up to that in word and deed. We've been fearless but also fair. We've tried to build something. After all, that's what constructive means. We tried to empower our people to believe that democratic debate and robust accountability are their right. We have led the policy debate with constructive, detailed proposals, papers on everything from Europe and our dual market access, house building, Loch Ness, better budgeting, childcare, emergency waiting times, child poverty, and lots beside. I'm sure you've all read the documents. If you haven't, go and read them, they're terrific. We have always been a party that is passionate about generating ideas, healthy debate, and the possibility of politics to energise and empower a people bored of stale division. 55 years ago, we were born out of civil rights and founded on the idea that democratic debate and constructive dissent were the best way to challenge a corrupt, discriminatory and unreformed state. We would, in the words of the US civil rights hero John Lewis, make good trouble. That's what we're doing in opposition every day. Making good trouble. Necessary trouble. Now, don't let anyone tell you that opposition is negativity, as the First Minister has often accused me of. Someone wisely put it like this. I'm going to read this quote in great detail. Opposition is where those elected by the people exercise their duty to keep those in power in check through fair, open and honest debate. It's how accountability is ensured and the interests of the people protected. Anyone know who said that? Any guesses? Those very apt words are from my counterpart in Dáil Éireann, Mary Lou MacDonald, when she was rightly defending the principle of opposition in the Oireachtas. So, to be absolutely clear, if the Irish people are entitled to robust accountability in one part of this island, they are entitled to it everywhere. In the conference, we are trying to tear anything down. We're not trying to tear anyone down. We're trying to build. That's the theme of our conference. Build a culture of accountability in our broken political system. Empower our people to believe that they can build something beyond division, that they can build a new Ireland out of the divisions of the past. Sadly, the truth is, our big parties are addicted to stale division. It suits them to have a disengaged, disempowered public, with the occasional distraction and sham fight, and the idea of real, energised debate about ideas and choices. It's just not in their interests. How do we rescue the environment and restore Lough Neagh? How do we fix our health service while also dealing with an ageing population? How do we alleviate our shamefully high levels of child poverty? How do we decarbonise and reconnect our island? Our people of all ages and all backgrounds want to talk about these things, but our politics constantly drags our debate back into the tribal gutter. And it must be said that certain parts of our media are only too willing sometimes to facilitate it. We want to empower people to demand better than distraction. Any of you lucky or unlucky enough to spend your days watching proceedings in the Assembly chamber will know that most of the energy comes from the SDLP opposition benches. Our MLAs spend much of their time, DUP MLAs, not our MLAs to be clear, I'm not talking about DUP MLAs, let me get that sentence right, spend much of their time pursuing tribal grievance or MAGA-style culture wars. Sinn Féin MLAs don't say much at all, beyond short scripted remarks. What happens at Stormont, to be clear, only matters to the extent that it resonates and delivers for real people. And the brutal, unavoidable truth is that the executive isn't delivering at all. It isn't just failing, it's inert, it's comatose. Let me give you a small example. As many of you will know, MLAs, just like MPs and TDs, can ask government ministers written questions which, under Stormont rules, are supposed to be answered within 10 days. Now, when we got back into Stormont last year, my first written question when we returned was to the Executive Office, and it was a simple one. When will a programme for government be published? I asked that question in February last year. So, it took them long enough to publish the programme for government, but it took them much longer to reply to my question. I got the answer, which I asked in February 2024, 2 days ago. A question that should have been answered in 10 days took 20 months. Now, in that time, Taylor Swift and Bruce Springsteen both completed world tours. France had 4 different prime ministers. And my baby daughter, who at that point was not yet even a twinkle in my eye, has just started on solids. If only the executive had made such progress. To be honest, if Emma and Michelle were as quick to answer questions as they are to RSVP to royal invites, we'd be flying. For conference, it doesn't have to be like this. Of course, in politics, our politics here in the North is constrained by power sharing. And of course, the executive could use more resources. But let's be clear, every government in the world is constrained politically and financially. No government anywhere has complete freedom to do what it wants. The test of politics is what you do with the power that you have. Do you strain every sinew to deliver what you promised in your manifesto? Do you try everything to deliver for the people you serve and to deliver on your values? On that test, the sad truth is that the executive isn't delivering. The sad truth is not just that the executive isn't delivering, it's that conference they aren't even trying. Now, we know that the DUP is scared of the future and scared of the TUV, so can only offer people fear. They've nothing to sell people other than a Farage future. And all too tragically, because they can't offer a hopeful vision for the communities who elected them, they can't or won't challenge the dark forces that we have seen on the streets of Belfast, Larne and Ballymena. But many people also invested their hopes in the Alliance Party after its extraordinary and historic mandate in the 2022 election. We know in this room how historic their success was because, let's face it, came at our expense. Their electoral success was probably the biggest change in local politics since the St Andrews Agreement, and it was a huge endorsement. But, as I said, the test in politics is what you've done with power once you've won it. And sadly, on the most fundamental issues, Alliance has failed to prioritise and deliver things in the areas that were supposed to be fundamental for them. and non-negotiable. Just days into the new executive, Paul Givan took £150 million from integrated schools, apparently without any dissent from Alliance ministers. On the environment, progress has been painfully slow. Sinn Féin only U-turned on their opposition to Lough Neagh action after concerted political pressure from the SDLP opposition. But most disappointingly, for people who had placed their hope in Alliance to offer change to the culture of our politics, so far they have mostly reinforced our broken politics. They failed to demand implementation. They failed to demand reform of our institutions when they had the chance. Conference, the SDLP will not make the same mistake. So my recommendation to party colleagues would be that after the Assembly election, we don't make the same mistake the Alliance Party did. Our participation in an executive would have to be contingent on securing clear commitments to reform of Stormont as part of a programme for government. Put simply, we can't give cover to an unreformed, broken Stormont system. Now, from changing the way the First Ministers and Speaker are elected through to creating a statutory duty for ministers and departments to cooperate rather than working in their own little boxes, the SDLP has championed reform since Stormont returned and will continue to do just that because we want to build a better North in the here and now. It is possible to make our government and our politics work better. But, to be clear, I don't know anyone who thinks that even a reformed Stormont is going to deliver the future that we want, other perhaps than the Alliance Party. The SDLP is clear. Our best future, our true potential, lies in a new Ireland back in Europe. And so, Conference, you might say, well, why bother with Stormont at all? If our future lies in a new Ireland, and I believe it does, why waste energy challenging ministers when you could be focusing on constitutional change? Conference, that attitude is totally wrong. Let me tell you why. Building a new Ireland starts here in the North, now. Every day in opposition, in demanding better for the North now, we are also arguing for the potential of a new Ireland. When Colin calls for health services that don't stop at the border, when Daniel challenges ministers on the failure to deliver the life-saving A5, which will connect Donegal to Dublin via Derry and Tyrone, when Patsy presses for an island-wide approach to recovering Ireland's largest lake at Lough Neagh, when Sinead argues for regional growth for the whole Northwest, when Mark argues for the same kind of cost of living supports in the North as households get in the South, when Cara presses for better prospects for young people to keep them on this island, and when Justin presses for more ambition on all-island rail, that's after he's located where his phone is. When we press for better in opposition, we are arguing for the kind of change that will ultimately require a new Ireland. But there's another reason why our work in opposition matters. It's about empowerment again, because a new Ireland won't happen without an empowered people. In Scotland in 2014, they undertook an extraordinary national exercise in democracy. Teenagers and pensioners were debating about currency unions and pension liabilities as part of a national conversation on the future of Scotland. That's the kind of democratic engagement and empowerment we need to build here, and it starts now in the North. The First Minister and her party also won an historic mandate in 2022. Not only did they elect the first nationalist First Minister, more importantly, they now hold the three strategic economic departments: finance, economy and infrastructure. They, Sinn Féin, have the unique and unprecedented opportunity, using those departments, to champion and deliver an all-island agenda. Whether that's expanding cross-border energy projects by driving the North-South interconnector, rebuilding all-island connections broken by partition, and putting resource behind the all-island rail review, a review, I should say, commissioned by Nicola Mallon, or by investing in our wastewater infrastructure to encourage cross-border investment, or seeking new fiscal powers from London, the London government, that they complain about so much. Conference, here's the thing, they aren't doing any of those things, none of them. On Thursday, they published an alternative budget for the South, full of brilliant ideas for the Republic, not a single one of which is being implemented by them in the North. Not one. I say honestly to Sinn Féin, to build a new Ireland, which we both want to do, we need to start in the North now. Don't just shift blame to the British government or the DUP. Build something. Don't just pose for the camera. Build something. And while you're at it, how about finally building the A5 in Casement Park? Developing a prospectus, securing a referendum, and winning one is going to require planning and persuasion. It's going to require more than bland platitudes and photo ops, more than whatever you're having yourself populism. Am I being negative or churlish in pointing that out? No doubt some will say so. But here's the thing, Conference. The SDLP doesn't think the people of the North should have to simply settle for what we have, because it's not good enough. For poor public services and no ambition to improve them. We don't think our people should be told that real politics, real democracy, real empowerment are for other people. Whether it's from Sinn Féin saying they don't have the power to change things up here, so be grateful for some photo ops and warm words. Or, it has to be said, establishment voices in Dublin telling us again and again that people here aren't ready to talk about a new Ireland, that we must forever live in a limbo of dysfunctional process, that to even talk about a new and reconciled Ireland back in Europe is wrong or divisive. It isn't. Our people are entitled to build a new future. They are, in so many ways, far ahead of our broken politics. Now, our work as opposition is about empowering them to demand better in the North now, and empowering them to build a new Ireland for them and their children. Like lots of young people, I left these shores for opportunity elsewhere. But unlike most of them, I came back after 20 years away. And yes, before anyone points it out, I am definitively no longer young. I came back with my family to build something, to build a life, but also to build something new in Ireland with all of you. And it was Claire Hanna who asked me, and we all know how persuasive she is. Our job in this room isn't to curse the past, or to bask in it, or tell people what they already know, that our politics isn't working. Our job is to empower them, to build something new and better than we have now, to give them hope that politics can offer them more than stale division and culture wars, to build with them, to build for them. Let's go and build together.